The nebula stretched across the viewport like a river of scattered gemstones, its turquoise streaks shimmering against the dark canvas of deep space. Commander Rhea Marlin stood at the center of HES Pathfinder's bridge, watching as tendrils of ionized dust coiled around the ship's hull. Humanity had seen nebulae through telescopes for centuries, yet standing within one carried a quiet thrill that never dulled. Even now, as the sensors mapped new star formations, she felt the same spark she'd had as a child staring at the night sky. "Mapping Grid 9 complete," Lieutenant Jian reported. His voice carried a crisp confidence. "No anomalies this time." "That's a relief," Rhea answered. "The last anomaly tried to eat our probes." Jian cracked a grin. "It was only nibbling, Commander." Rhea exhaled softly. Calm, professional atmosphere, exactly what she wanted during a long-range expedition. The Helios fleet consisted of 3 ships, all sturdy, over-engineered, and built by humans who believed redundancy was the universe's greatest gift. Out here, far beyond charted space, that philosophy felt justified. "Commander," Ensign Vale called from the communications station, brow furrowing. "I'm picking up a signature. It's faint. Actually, no, it's getting stronger." "Much stronger." Rhea straightened. "Source?" "Directly behind the nebula wall. The energy output is massive. Not natural." Before Rhea could respond, the nebula parted like a curtain being torn open. A colossal silhouette emerged, metallic and angular, illuminated by the nebula's glow. Its golden plating reflected the light like ceremonial armor. The ship's hull spiraled outward in ornate patterns, nothing like humanity's practical lines. Jian blinked. "That doesn't look like a freighter." Vale's console lit with symbols streaming across the screen. "They're hailing us." Rhea nodded. "Put it through." A deep, resonant voice filled the bridge. "Unidentified vessel. You trespass upon sovereign territory of the Xyretheus Dominion. Power down your engines and kneel for inspection." Rhea blinked once. "Kneel? In space?" She glanced at her crew. Their expressions ranged from baffled to vaguely amused. "Open a reply channel," she said. "Channel open. Xyretheus vessel, this is Commander Rhea Marlin of the human exploration ship Pathfinder. We were unaware this region belonged to anyone. Also, just to clarify, did you say kneel?" A pause. The alien voice returned, now sharper. "Yes. Kneel. It is the posture of submission. Failure will result in punitive measures." Rhea mouthed the word submission with visible disbelief. "We're floating in zero gravity," she replied evenly. "Not ideal conditions for kneeling," Jian whispered. "Maybe they mean metaphorically?" Rhea kept her expression neutral, though humor tugged at her lips. "Dominion vessel, we intend no hostility. We request peaceful dialogue and clarification regarding borders." Another pause, longer this time. Then a new figure appeared in holographic projection, tall, stern, draped in crystalline armor that shimmered like molten glass. His presence radiated authority and irritation. "I am Grand Admiral Vaelker Zoreth," he declared. "Your tone suggests mockery." Rhea raised a calm hand. "Not at all. We genuinely didn't know anyone claimed this nebula. We are explorers, scientific, not military." "Explorers," Vaelker repeated, as if it were an insult. "Ignorance is not an excuse. You will comply with Dominion protocol." Vale muttered under her breath. "Protocol seems a bit dramatic." Rhea shot her a warning glance, though Vaelker seemed not to notice, or perhaps he simply refused to acknowledge commentary from underlings. His gaze swept the bridge with disdain. "You will power down immediately," he continued. "Our inspection teams will determine your species' value." Rhea lifted one brow. "Value? Labor classification, biological capacity, cognitive utility," Vaelker said, as if listing spices. "Your cooperation will ease your integration into the Dominion." The bridge fell silent. Jian leaned forward. "Commander, did he just?" "Yes," Rhea said quietly. "He did." She folded her arms with practiced authority. Grand Admiral, humanity is not seeking integration into any empire. We are an independent civilization. This encounter appears to be a misunderstanding. We propose. Vailker cut her off with a dismissive gesture. Your refusal is noted. Prepare for enforcement. The projection vanished. A moment later, the Dominion warship fired a beam of concentrated energy. It struck Pathfinder's forward shields with a brilliant flare. Vale yelped, but the shield meters barely shifted. Jian stared at his console. Commander, their weapon charge was enormous. But our shields only warmed a bit. Report damage, Rhea said. None, Jian answered. Actually, we gained 4% power from the impact. The beam fed our absorption coils. A long silence followed. Then Vale whispered, Should we thank them for charging our batteries? Rhea allowed herself the slightest smile. Let's not yet. The Dominion ship repositioned, likely expecting the human vessel to drift helplessly, smoking and crippled. Instead, Pathfinder sat steady, untouched. The hollow projector flashed again. Vailker reappeared, eyes widening. That strike was calibrated to disable a cruiser, he snapped. Explain your resilience. Rhea kept her tone composed. Human engineering tends to be thorough. Impossible, he hissed. Your species is far too young to possess such defenses. Age doesn't dictate creativity, Jian murmured. Vailker leaned closer, frustration carving harsh lines across his face. You will submit now, or the Dominion will respond with overwhelming force. Rhea met his gaze without blinking. Grand Admiral, humanity does not submit to threats. We remain open to peaceful discourse, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. The projection dissolved again, this time in fury, not formality. Vale exhaled slowly. So that's it? We're just enemies now? Not yet, Rhea said. But we're on the line. Sensors chimed. A fleet signature bloomed on the edge of the nebula. Multiple Dominion ships inbound, their formation tight and aggressive. Jian straightened. Commander, that's a full strike group. Rhea stepped forward, eyes narrowing at the sight of the Imperial fleet closing in. They think fear controls the galaxy. They're about to learn humans don't bend that easily. Her voice held no arrogance, only resolve. The nebula's glow cast sharp highlights across her face as the first wave of Dominion ships surged closer, their engines blazing like hostile suns. Bring the expeditionary fleet to defensive posture, she ordered. Open channels to Resolute and Wayfarer. No one fires unless fired upon. The crew moved with swift precision. Rhea looked once more at the encroaching armada. If they want to test our resolve, she murmured, they'll find we came prepared. The stars outside flickered with the promise of confrontation, and humanity's first encounter with an ancient empire edged toward the brink. The Dominion fleet emerged from the nebula's shadow like a procession of metallic beasts. Rows of spear-shaped warships glided into formation, their hulls adorned with shimmering sigils that pulsed with cold, ceremonial precision. Every vessel moved with rigid synchronicity, guided by protocols older than human civilization itself. Commander Rhea Marlin watched the tactical display as icons multiplied across the screen. The Dominion wasn't bluffing. They had deployed a strike group large enough to crush most known species with little effort. 32 ships, Lieutenant Jian murmured. And every one of them is charging weapons. They're treating us like an invasion force, Ensign Vale said. We're literally holding a science survey. Rhea steadied her breathing. Panic had no place on her bridge. Maintain defensive posture. Remind the fleet, no firing unless we're attacked. Vale nodded and sent the command. Through the viewport, the Dominion formation curved inward like a closing jaw. Rhea felt the weight of their intent, domination through intimidation. Every maneuver was designed to instill fear. Humanity, however, had never been good at following someone else's script. A calm chime rang across the bridge. It almost sounded ironic, given the circumstances. Commander, Jian said, they're projecting another message. Let's hear it. Vailker's hologram appeared once more, towering and radiant with fury. Human vessels, you stand surrounded by the Dominion's outer fleet. Your defiance ends now. Power down and submit. Rhea folded her hands behind her back. We're open to dialogue, but we will not surrender. We are explorers, not subjects. Veilker's expression hardened. You mock our authority with words disguised as reason. I'm offering reason, Rhea corrected. You're choosing offense. You trespassed. You refused protocol. You laughed at directives. Rhea inhaled slowly. We didn't laugh at you, Admiral. We simply. You laughed. His voice echoed like a hammer striking glass. Dominion intelligence has reviewed your internal recordings. Your crew found amusement in our commands. Jian's voice slipped out before Rhea could stop him. Sir, we didn't think kneeling was a real request. Veilker turned his gaze directly toward Jian. Your insolence confirms everything. The Dominion does not tolerate ridicule. Rhea stepped closer, positioning herself between her officer and the projection. Enough. Admiral, I suggest we de-escalate before someone makes a mistake either of our civilizations can undo. Very well, Veilker said. I shall demonstrate your insignificance. His hologram dissolved. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the nearest Dominion cruiser fired. A beam of concentrated energy shot toward Pathfinder, not a warning shot this time, but a full strike. The ship's shield matrix flared with vibrant light, dispersing the attack in ripples that danced across the hull. Shield holding, Jian reported, eyes widening. Minimal loss. Actually, we gained a bit of charge again. Veil blinked. Is their weapon output inefficient, or are our coils just that insane? Rhea didn't answer. She was studying the Dominion fleet. Their ships shifted uneasily, recalibrating. They had expected devastation, not resilience. Another volley came, 3 beams this time. Pathfinder's shields absorbed them like warm rain. Jian turned to her. Commander, if they keep this up, we'll hit full capacitor charge. Let's not tell them that, Rhea said. But she saw the danger here. Every defensive reaction, every attempt at restraint only deepened Dominion confusion. They were interpreting human calm as arrogance, and human adaptability as hostile intent. Prepare countermeasures, she said, but keep them non-lethal. Veil frowned. What kind of countermeasures? The subtle kind. Rhea stepped toward Jian's console. Activate the light-speed reflection grid, half strength. Aim at their central formation. We need to get their attention without harming anyone. Jian hesitated. That's still experimental. Exactly. They won't expect it. He initiated the sequence. Moments later, a cone of redirected photons surged outward from Pathfinder's bow. It wasn't a weapon, just a high-intensity sensor return burst. But to the Dominion, it manifested as a blinding flare washing across half their fleet. Dominion ships veered away, their navigation patterns breaking formation as sensors scrambled to recover. Veil winced. We may have overdone it. Damage report? Rhea asked. None. They're disoriented, but intact. The tactical map flickered as Dominion squadrons attempted to re-establish coordination. But their pristine formation, their disciplined intimidation display, had fractured. A message burst through the comms uninvited. Human vessel! What sorcery was that? The speaker wasn't Veilker. This voice trembled with confusion. Rhea responded calmly. A diagnostic reflection pulse. Our sensors operate differently. No harm intended. More Dominion chatter spilled through the channel, frantic, overlapping voices that clearly weren't meant for human ears. They blinded our forward division. Is that technology or chaos? How can a young species wield such unpredictable systems? Rhea muted the channel, sparing her crew from the noise. Commander, Jian spoke carefully. If their analysts think we're unpredictable, this could spiral faster. It already has, Rhea said. Which is why we need transparency, not retaliation. Veil leaned back in her chair. How do you make an empire listen when they think everything you say is an insult? That, Rhea said, is the challenge. Before she could elaborate, an incoming data burst reached the bridge. Vale intercepted it, brows knitting as she skimmed through. It's internal Dominion analysis, she said slowly. They're examining human psychology, culture, history, everything they can parse. And their conclusion? Rhea asked. Vale looked up. They think humans are danger tolerant to an irrational degree. They believe we treat threats as entertainment. Jian groaned. That's not entirely wrong. Rhea pinched the bridge of her nose. This is getting out of hand. If they think we're reckless, they'll assume escalation is our natural response. We need to break that assumption. Vale hesitated, then asked. How? Rhea stared at the screen filled with Dominion signals, their ships rotating nervously as if waiting for another unpredictable human move. We go to them, Rhea said. Direct diplomacy. Face to face. Both Jian and Vale turned toward her. Commander, Jian said carefully. They just tried to kill us. They failed, Rhea replied. And that failure has shaken them more than victory would have. They're scared of what they don't understand. We need to show them humanity isn't here to conquer. Vale typed rapidly. Sending request for diplomatic parley. Seconds passed. A long, tense silence. Then, parley accepted. Proceed to War Council Citadel. Rhea exhaled. Vale leaned back. They agreed? For their reasons, not ours, Rhea said. Vale probably thinks he can corner us politically. We'll prove him wrong. The bridge quieted as she looked toward the nebula's edge. The path ahead wasn't simply diplomatic, it was a test of humanity's place in the galaxy. Set course for the Citadel, she ordered. The engines ignited. The fleet turned. A new chapter began. The War Council Citadel rose ahead like a monolith sculpted from obsidian and starlight. Suspended above a violet gas giant, the station's spires curled upward in jagged arcs, interlinked by glowing bridges. Countless Dominion banners fluttered holographically around it, each displaying symbols meant to inspire awe or compliance. Commander Rhea Marlin stood at Pathfinder's forward rail as the ship approached the docking corridor. The closer they drew, the more overwhelming the Citadel's scale became. Every panel shimmered with centuries of ceremonial craftsmanship, but beneath the beauty pulsed the unmistakable tension of a regime accustomed to obedience. Vale broke the silence. I can't tell if they're welcoming us or staging an opera. Jian studied the structure. Their architecture looks like someone tried to intimidate gravity. Rhea kept her posture steady. Remember, observe, don't provoke. They already think we're unpredictable. A Dominion docking cradle extended, enveloping Pathfinder in a cage of pale blue energy. The process felt more like containment than hospitality. Still, Rhea nodded to her away team. Let's make this count. Helm, maintain passive defenses while we're aboard. The boarding ramp hissed open. A delegation waited, soldiers in mirrored armor, advisors draped in long crystalline robes, and a stern official who stepped forward with rigid authority. Commander Marlin, he announced, bowing with mechanical precision. I am on Vacarith. The Grand Council awaits. Rhea inclined her head politely. Lead the way. They walked through towering corridors lined with carved reliefs depicting Dominion victories. The air smelled faintly metallic, and every footstep echoed like a drumbeat. Guards stood motionless at every junction, their gazes fixed straight ahead. Vale leaned toward Rhea, whispering, This place makes Star Destroyers feel cozy. Eyes forward, Rhea murmured. They entered the council chamber, a vast circular hall filled with tiered platforms. Dominion leaders occupied each level, their robes shimmering like liquid metal. At the center, elevated above all others, sat Grand Admiral Vaelker Zorath. His armor shone brighter than before, its etched patterns glowing with ceremonial significance. His gaze locked onto Rhea with predatory intensity. Human Anva, Vaelker said, voice echoing through hidden amplifiers. You stand before the Dominion's highest authority. Present your plea. Rhea stepped onto the designated platform. We come not with a plea but with clarity. Humanity is an independent civilization. We seek peaceful coexistence, not subjugation. A ripple of murmurs spread across the chamber. Veilker raised a hand, silencing them. Your species trespassed upon Dominion territory. You disrespected our directives. You unleashed unknown technologies against our fleet. Rhea held her ground. We navigated unclaimed space. We questioned unclear demands. And our actions were defensive, not hostile. You blinded an entire division. Veilker snapped. With a sense of reflection, Rhea countered. Non-lethal. Temporary. Intent matters less than impact, he said coldly. Jian whispered from behind her. This guy would hate fireworks. Veilker's gaze sharpened. Do your subordinates find this council humorous? Rhea faced him directly. They find tension more bearable when tempered with perspective. Humor is not disrespect. To the Dominion it is. His voice rose, bolstered by the chamber's acoustics. Our laws demand subservience from those who enter our Dominion. Rhea lifted a data tablet. Your laws also forbid unprovoked attacks on peaceful vessels. She projected the recording of the Dominion's first strike, shields flaring harmlessly around Pathfinder. The room darkened as the hologram played, illuminating stunned faces. Rhea continued. Humanity approached with diplomacy. You responded with force. Several counselors whispered urgently among themselves. Veilker's jaw tightened. You manipulate narrative, he said. I present facts, Rhea replied. A senior counselor rose from a lower platform. His voice carried authority tempered with curiosity. Commander Marlin, your vessel withstood an attack capable of disabling a cruiser. Explain your resilience. Rhea selected a new data stream. This is our reactor's output curve. Our engineers designed the ship to survive unknown regions. Overengineering is a habit of ours. The chamber projected Pathfinder's power signature, steady, efficient, deceptively powerful. More whispers filled the room. Some were surprised. Others fearful. Veilker stood abruptly. This demonstration is a threat. No, Rhea said. It's context. You attacked what you assumed was weak. We're offering transparency, not superiority. The counselor from earlier leaned forward. Your species displays confidence unusual for its age. Rhea allowed a hint of a smile. We've learned survival requires more than compliance. Veilker slammed his staff onto the floor. Enough! Humanity's refusal to kneel proves their danger. I propose immediate containment and forced integration. Jian's eyes widened. Veil stiffened. Rhea spoke before Veilker continued. Domination will only fuel conflict. Cooperation benefits both our civilizations. Veilker turned sharply. The Dominion does not cooperate with the insolent. He signaled the guard. Begin the containment protocol. But before the guard could move, alarms flared across the hall. Tactical glyphs ignited along the chamber walls. Dominion officers hurried to consoles embedded within their platforms. One counselor cried out, Admiral, your encirclement fleet has been disabled. Veilker spun toward the tactical display. The hologram showed his ships drifting, engines offline, weapons dormant. What? How? He demanded. Veil whispered. Commander, did Resolute just use the gravity harmonics test? Rhea kept her expression neutral. It appears we've demonstrated another principle unintentionally. Jian murmured. Harmonics can stall engines, but only briefly. On the hologram, Dominion ships slowly righted themselves, systems rebooting. Council members stared at Veilker with dawning suspicion. Rhea stepped forward. Admiral, this is what we've been explaining. Humanity is not seeking war. But if provoked, we will defend ourselves with precision, not annihilation. A counselor pointed at Veilker. You claimed they were primitive. You insisted they posed no challenge. Another added. Yet they neutralize your fleet without casualties. Veilker seethed. They are chaotic, unpredictable, dangerous, or adaptable, Rhea said, and willing to talk. If you allow it. The council chamber shifted. Eyes turned away from Veilker and toward Rhea, measured, cautious, contemplative. The senior counselor addressed her again. Commander Marlin, humanity's strength lies not in aggression, but in restraint. We did not expect this. We don't seek to rule, Rhea replied. We seek to understand. And to be understood. Silence settled. This time, it wasn't hostile. Vailker's voice broke it. You will regret this leniency, he growled toward his peers. But no one echoed him. The counselor lifted his staff. Commander Marlin, a recess will be held. We must reconsider this encounter without distortion. Rhea nodded. We welcome further discussion. As the chamber doors opened, Vale whispered, We didn't start a war. That's progress. Rhea exhaled slowly. Yes. But Vailker won't let this go. The Citadel's corridor lights dimmed as they were escorted out. The negotiation wasn't over. It had only shifted. And now an empire had begun to question itself. The escort led Commander Rhea Marlin and her team into a quiet observation hall overlooking the gas giant below. Storm bands twisted across its surface, reflecting pale light into the chamber. Rhea stood near the window, her posture firm but thoughtful. The council's recess offered time to decompress, but the silence felt charged, as if the citadel itself sensed the fracture forming within the Dominion. Vale approached, speaking in a low voice. The councilors looked shaken. Not at us, at him. Rhea understood. Vailker built his authority on inevitability. When inevitability cracks, everything underneath shifts. Jian checked his wrist display. Commander, news circulating through their internal network suggests political factions are emerging. Some want treaties with humanity. Others want the admiral removed. Rhea folded her arms. He'll act before they can. As if summoned by the thought, the chamber lights snapped to crimson. A piercing alarm reverberated through the hall. An automated voice echoed overhead. Authorization override. Fleet mobilization initiated. All defensive sectors assume combat readiness. Jian stiffened. He's seizing command. Rhea's jaw tightened. And he's about to make his final mistake. A Dominion guard rushed toward them, breath unsteady. Commander Marlin, you must return to your vessel. Grand Admiral Vailker has ordered all human ships detained. The Council is locked out of command. Vale's eyes widened. Detained means fired upon, doesn't it? The guard shifted uncomfortably. If resistance is detected, yes. Rhea stepped toward him. Can you grant us safe passage to the docking ring? I can escort you, he said quickly. There isn't much time. The group moved through corridors now buzzing with activity. Soldiers hurried past, unsure whether the emergency was external or political. The rising tension felt like a storm tightening its grip around the citadel. Rhea quickened her pace. Vailker won't risk a small confrontation, she said. He'll aim for a decisive show of force. Against 3 exploration ships? Vale muttered. He's desperate. Rhea shook her head. He's terrified. At the docking bay, metallic doors slid open to reveal Pathfinder locked in containment clamps. Vailker's signature command, control through immobility. The guard activated a panel. I'll release your ship. After that, I cannot interfere. Your help is noted, Rhea said, stepping onto the ramp. And appreciated. He bowed slightly. All I ask is, please do not destroy the citadel. Rhea almost smiled. That is not our goal. The ramp sealed behind them, and they hurried to the bridge. Commander on deck! Someone called out. Rhea strode to the command station. Status? Lieutenant Jian, now at tactical, didn't look up. We're locked down, but systems are powering up. Resolute and Wayfarer report similar clamps. Vale scanned the feed. Dominion ships are repositioning. Looks like Vailker wants to surround the entire wing of the station where our vessels are docked. Rhea breathed once, steady and deliberate. Initiate the gravity well countermeasure. Low amplitude. Jian hesitated. That'll freeze propulsion across the area, not just for them. Exactly, Rhea said. We can't allow Vailker to fire first. The sequence activated. A pulse rippled invisibly through the Citadel's docking perimeter. Dominion ships attempting formation suddenly drifted off course, their engines sputtering. Vale monitored the readings. His entire encirclement pattern just collapsed. Jian looked up. We didn't disable them. We just confused their flight grids. That's the point, Rhea replied. Non-lethal, but decisive. A message burst across the comms, unmistakably Valker's voice. Human vessel, you dare sabotage the Dominion? Release control or face annihilation. Rhea opened a channel. Admiral, cease escalation. Your fleet is disabled without damage. You can still step down. I do not step down. His voice cracked with anger. The Dominion bends to no chaos-born species. You corrupt our order and flaunt your unpredictability. This ends now. Your council disagrees, Rhea said. And your actions are undermining the very authority you claim to protect. Silence! The projection cut. Vale whispered. He's not listening to anything. He will, when he has no moves left, Rhea said. Sensors pulsed. Jian frowned. Commander, Valker is routing full power through his flagship. Looks like he's preparing an ion barrage that could hit the entire docking sector. Rhea moved to tactical. Then we take his weapon offline. How? Jian asked. With precision. She pointed at the waveform analysis Valker's ship emitted. Its energy signature fluctuated as it charged. Human systems had mapped similar distortions before. Natural ion storms contained comparable patterns. Rhea keyed a sequence. Prepare the EMP lattice. Minimal coverage. Target only his flagship's central relay. Vale bit her lip. If we misalign by even a fraction. We won't, Rhea said. Execute. The EMP lattice fired. Threads of electromagnetic interference danced outward like a fine web, invisible but deliberate. They converged on Valker's flagship, slipping through its shields before the ship's computers detected the intrusion. The flagship flickered. Weapons went dark. Engines powered down. Internal lights dimmed. The mighty vessel hung motionless. Vale exhaled. He's finished. But Rhea wasn't convinced. Open channel, she said. Valker appeared immediately. Even stripped of command, his expression held venom. You humiliate the Dominion, he spat. No, Rhea answered. You humiliated yourself. We defended ourselves with the least force possible. You escalated every encounter. You speak as if morality matters in the void. It does, she said. Because civilizations are built there. His image trembled, distorted by the failing systems around him. You think you've won, human? He hissed. This empire stands beyond your reach. This empire, Rhea said calmly, is discovering it has choices beyond yours. She ended the transmission. Shortly after, the Council broadcast a station-wide declaration. Their voices carried none of Valker's fury, only authority and finality. Grand Admiral Valker Zorath is hereby relieved of command. His orders are nullified. The Dominion acknowledges the incident as a failure of leadership, not an act of war. Humanity is recognized as an autonomous civilization deserving diplomatic parity. Vale leaned back, stunned. That's clearer than I expected. Jian nodded. They chose reason over pride. Rhea allowed her breath to settle. They chose survival. Empires don't endure by clinging to leaders who can't adapt. Moments later, a new channel opened, this time from the senior counselor. Commander Marlin, he said with a respectful bow. The Dominion proposes formal treaty discussions free from coercion or threat. Your restraint has revealed more strength than violence ever could. Rhea inclined her head. Humanity accepts. The counselor's expression softened. May this be the first step toward a new era. The transmission ended. Vale exhaled. We did it. Rhea looked toward the viewport, where Dominion ships drifted quietly as systems slowly rebooted. The Citadel's lights brightened, returning from emergency hues to serene blue. It isn't victory, Rhea said softly. It's understanding. And that's far more powerful. Jian smiled. Still feels good. Ria allowed herself one moment of quiet reflection before issuing her next order. Prep a course home. We have a story to share.